To Kenya now, where the country's Supreme Court has delivered its full judgment for its decision to annul the August 8th presidential elections. Court judges have blamed the country's Electoral Commission for not verifying the presidential results before they were announced. The judges say the polls were neither transparent nor verifiable. Incumbent President Uhuru Kenyatta got 54% of the vote against opposition leader Raila Odinga, who got 44%. Kenya is scheduled to hold a rerun vote on October 17th, although this date could be changed. And to help us better understand these developments, we have in studio Donald Rabala. He is an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. Donald, thank you for your time. So what do you make of the full findings or details of the Supreme Court in its decision to annul the presidential elections of Kenya?
What the lawyers make of this, and what many Kenyans would agree with, is that the IBC stands inducted, and when there's that particular situation, there are certain changes that must take place before the elections can happen. And what we are seeing as hard positions are taken from both sides, one from the Jubilee side, the other from the NASA side. And why they are doing that is purposely for the political interests that are taking place within the country. We are also seeing a situation where the voter is coming up and saying that they voted and they expect their votes to count. We also see a situation where one side of the political divide wants a recount, and the recount was not requested at the main hearing. What the Supreme Court has done for this country is basically to order that IEBC, as currently constituted, though no finger was pointed at any particular person, must be able to take responsibility for the irregularities and the illegalities that they I would not want to say they, but the irregularities and the illegalities that took place within the Secretariat.
So what happens now then in the run-up to the repeat presidential poll? And is the IEBC, number one, able? And number two, will it be allowed to manage the elections?
Already as we are speaking, there's supposed to be a meeting today between the IEBC officials and the political parties, and that will determine greatly how this this process will be conducted. But as a Kenyan and as a lawyer and as a person who has participated in these events, I want to say categorically that it would not be fair to have the IEBC conducting elections if and when and as it was done by the Supreme Court judges in terms of stating that the IEBC made certain mistakes. They only stopped short of saying that this person did this and that, this and that. Those are the questions that we should be addressing as Kenyans.
Right, but now the situation as we have it in Kenya is that we have a time frame stipulated within the Constitution of 60 days from when the Supreme Court issues its verdict to conduct the rerun or the repeat presidential poll. So what happens if the country cannot be able to do that within that stipulated period of time?
There is a provision within the very same constitution which one particular side does not want to address, and the other side is keen on addressing. And this is more to do with a caretaker government, which should take effect from the 31st of October in the event that there is no election. I see ourselves heading that way if we don't agree on an earlier date for elections. And The other matter that we would even want to address as Kenyans, because this is more of a Kenyan issue, is that what kind of observation do we expect from the international observers? They have changed their statements severally, saying that the elections were free and fair initially, and then suddenly they changed their statement, saying that it was they didn't have the full facts at the point of going to the international media and their meetings to make that decision. What you're saying, what kind of observation would we have from them? Because you also need international observers. This is not a process that can take 3 weeks, 4 weeks. This is something that should take longer. And with vested interest from both sides, from the NASA and from Jubilee, we are likely to see a situation where we are going to have a caretaker government.
All right, let's leave it there for now. Thank you for those insights. We had in studio this afternoon Donald Rabala, an advocate of the High Court of Kenya.